At the beginning of the show, we were talking about this idea of ghosting, but not only just ghosting, but ghosting if you put in for a job or you're supposed to show up at a job. Apparently, the job market is just going so strong now that recruiters and employers are noticing this trend. So people are just ghosting out of their interviews, even blowing off work. For example, USA Today reports that one business in California has had 65 job candidates not show up for their interviews just in the last couple of months.
Wow.
What? I know, I know. What? The USA Today article also says that some businesses are reporting 20 to 50% of interviewees and employees are blowing off their interview or their jobs. And get this, more and more people are actually accepting job offers, but then not showing up on the first day.
That is insane.
Well, someone had a better offer, I guess. I don't know. But what about integrity?
Exactly.
Okay, so the reason for this, the unemployment rate in May hit this 18-year low, so more jobs are available. Ghosting is happening across all industries, but USA Today says the biggest issues are happening with lower paying jobs in construction, truck driving, and manufacturing.
The Great Resignation, I think, is it's a market correction. You know, we know what happens to public markets when they become unbalanced, right? Laws of nature intervene, and there is a correction. That's what happens. And I think what we're experiencing is a massive correction in the labor market, where for too many years, let's be honest, companies have taken advantage of their people, especially low-level employees, because they could. And they actually had attitudes like, if you don't like it here, get a job somewhere else, you know? And we didn't treat people as human beings. We treated them as line items, disposable line items. And the front lines suffered the most, you know? And that balance got more and more and more tipped. And now what we're experiencing is a great correction, where now labor has much more influence. And thanks to COVID, says, I don't want to be treated this way, and I'd rather have no job than this job. Now, remember, prior to COVID, fear of the unknown was enough to keep somebody in an okay job. Doesn't mean it was toxic, it was just fine, right? But like, who wants to be in a fine relationship? You don't mean a fine job either. Like, how's work? That's fine. You know, how's your marriage? That's fine, right? But the fear of the unknown was too scary. Why don't you quit? I would, but I mean, I don't know, right? And then COVID happened, and some people were furloughed, some people lost their jobs, some people didn't lose their jobs, but they were filled with fear, and we made it through.
When it's time to shut off, it's time to shut off.
It's a phenomenon that has taken TikTok by storm. The idea of working 40 hours a week sounds pretty reasonable, but that isn't always what employers expect. And quiet quitting is a concept many are considering.
You're not outright quitting your job, but you're quitting the idea of going above and beyond. You're still performing your duties, but you're no longer subscribing to the hustle culture mentality that work has to be your life.
And usually that person doesn't just get extremely underpaid, they're also treated really badly in the workplace. They're passed over for opportunities to get ahead.
Quiet quitting, meet quiet firing, which is also sparking conversations on TikTok and beyond.
Quiet firing is where employers, managers, leaders engage in conduct to motivate, encourage employees to self-select out of the workplace.
First, there was quiet quitting, then quiet firing, and now there's a new quiet trend that is dominating workplaces. It's called quiet hiring. Career experts say we can expect to see more of it happening this year. It doesn't technically involve any new hiring at all. It happens when companies look to current employees to fill open positions. They may be asked to take on a new role with new responsibilities, either temporarily or permanently, due to staffing needs.
Bob, I've got tea time at 4 p.m. You have to stay until 9 p.m. to cover me today. Big deadline. Okay. Also need those reports that usually take you 2 weeks on my desk in 2 hours. Big deadline. Okay. And I'm denying your time off next Wednesday for the birth of your son. We've got a big deadline. Okay. What's going on? I am giving you all this extra work. I'm denying your time off and you're just okay with it? Don't tell me you're quiet quitting, all right, kid? Because back in my day, not quiet quitting, I'm just rage applying. Excuse me? Rage applying. In the last 2 weeks, I've applied to over 20 different jobs. I've gotten 10 interviews, and right now I have 2 offers in hand that are going to give me a 25% pay bump, a better title, better work-life balance, and not to mention my new manager is going to actually respect me as a human. Wait, so that means you're just quitting. All thanks to rage applying. Which, folks, is just the concept that you're fed up with your boss and you're sending out a bunch of applications to get a new job and to move on to the next one.
The shift in the workforce comes as more workers realize they now have the upper hand.
So that's what's driving this record number of resignations. And as Taylor Epps joins us to explain, it is causing what experts are calling, Taylor, rage quitting.
Exactly, Ed and Katie. So I sat down with a local expert who says for every one person that's looking for a job, there are 2 open positions. So candidates know they have that safety net, and more people are putting their foot down, packing up the desks, and rage quitting.
And that's where employees are quitting without a backup plan because they're fed up and they're at a breaking point. Rage quitting is a sign of a serious workplace flaw.
So that's Shannon Callahan. She works in downtown Buffalo at Acara Solutions, trying to help companies fill those jobs every day. She says there's 4 reasons people are walking out. Number 1, there's no flexibility at work. Now they say number 2, workers not being recognized for their contributions. Number 3, they have no sense of belonging. And 4, they don't feel respected by managers or coworkers.
For the young members of Generation Z, unemployment can be a blast. Susie Welch explores the mindset of young workers in a Wall Street Journal op-ed. She joins us now. Susie is an NYU Stern School of Business Management practice professor, Brunswick Group senior advisor, and CNBC contributor. Susie, great to see you. So explain how you encountered this concept of fun employment.
It happened in a typical class. I was teaching my MBA students. And one student was talking about what she would do after graduation. And she said, well, I don't have anything just yet, but I'm just going to do some fun employment. And at first I thought, well, I must be mishearing her because she put the words fun and unemployment together. And I literally screamed. I was like, what? Stop. And the whole class burst into laughter. And they're like, yeah, fun employment, you know, like unemployment when you make it fun and you just sort of do it between jobs. And I was like, stop the class right now. And they told me all about it.
And so this would be joblessness by choice for periods of time, or is it a little more loose than that?
It's looser. It's more of an attitude, which is that, okay, I'm not going to be the way your generation was about unemployment. I'm not going to be scared. I'm not going to be frantic. I'm not going to, lose my mind about it. If I'm unemployed, I'm unemployed. I'm going to have some fun. I'm going to have a great life. And I'll go to my next job when I get my next job. But until then, I'm going to enjoy it. It started with a 20-something life coach, so self-described, advocated for young women, in this case, to take jobs, low stress, 60 to 80K, where you can just check in, kind of mentally do very little, and then clock out and collect your paycheck, and then spend the majority of your life focusing on what's happening outside of work and becoming amazing humans. For me, it wasn't so much the word lazy. I think that they don't want to be lazy so much as what I generally experience from Gen Z, which is this strong desire to avoid anxiety at any cost. And actually, this is what drove me to go speak to a psychiatrist who specializes in Gen Z anxiety and say, what's going on here? And what the phenomenon is this overwhelming desire to not feel discomfort, and that includes in your career. But my argument to my students is, okay, well, sort of, you call it anxiety, could it just be adulthood?